What's going on, y'all? It's Jabril back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Medellin, Colombia, specifically the safety aspect of Medellin, Colombia. Is Medellin, Colombia a safe place to live, a safe place to visit? In general, is it a safe place to go to? Because I see on YouTube and I see a lot in different conversations I have, and just in general, that's a big question that people have that have never been to Medellin, Colombia. Will they have an enjoyable time there without having to worry about watching their back all the time? Do they have to take certain precautions when they're there? And is it just safe in general? Do they have to fear for their life when they're in Medellin, Colombia, or really watch where they go in Medellin? And this video is just going to be talking about my personal opinion on how safe Medellin, Colombia really is. And it's an authentic opinion because I've been living there for the past 3 months, and I'm also from a very highly populated city, New York City, so I have a good grasp on what's safe and what's not safe based off of where I'm from in the United States. I'm from New York City. I'm sure you heard of New York City. Maybe you've even went to New York City, but very highly populated. Does have its own levels of crime depending on where you're at in the city. I think it's a pretty safe city for the most part. You just gotta take certain precautions, and these same precautions that you would take in any city in the world probably, but definitely in the United States, whether it's Chicago, New York City, maybe even Los Angeles, you take these same precautions in Medellin, Colombia, and you'll be just fine. So overall, my official opinion of how safe Medellin, Colombia is that it's safe to live, definitely safe to visit, as long as you're not stupid. Now, what do I mean by as long as you're not stupid? As long as you're not partaking in activities and substances that attract sketchy people. So whether that's as long as you're not taking drugs, dealing with prostitutes, hanging out in the wrong neighborhoods that you shouldn't be in, hanging around the wrong people, you'll be fine. Just the basic things that you wouldn't do in your home country or your hometown, don't do it in Medellin, Colombia, and you'll be okay. And you may have seen other YouTube videos and YouTubers talking about, foreigners losing their life in Medellin, Colombia, dying, just various different things. This always seems to be, at least every year, maybe even every few months, a foreigner is dying in Medellin, Colombia. And the reasons why it seems to be a pattern in what's going on that's causing these deaths in Medellin, Colombia. And in my opinion, it goes back to what I just said is, dealing with the wrong people and using drugs. If you're going to Medellin just to enjoy yourself, know the city, know the culture, meet some new people, you'll be fine. And also, don't come to Medellin, Colombia with the same mentality that you would have in the United States. So Medellin, Colombia, the economy is much different than the United States or other Western countries. So don't come there thinking you're like this baller and everywhere you go you're wearing chains and watches and just flaunting whatever kind of wealth or money that you have. Yeah, don't do that. People are gonna pick up on that, and you may get robbed because of that. So yeah, don't wear any flashy things. Leave your jewelry at home, and I think you'll be okay. Like I said, and this is the main point I want to get across, do the same things that you would do in your hometown, home city, home state, to stay low key and to blend in. Do those exact same things. Things that you wouldn't do in the United States that could potentially get you in trouble, don't do it here. The clothing aspect, what I just mentioned about wearing chains, jewelry, watches, things like that, that's the easiest thing that can get you robbed or get you in trouble when in Medellin, Colombia, and in Colombia in general. People will see you if you're out and about walking around with these expensive things on. They will see that you stand out, that you're a foreigner, because the natives are not wearing those things majority of the time. And yeah, when they see that just puts a target on your back. So yeah, just wear normal clothes. You could definitely, dress up and dress nice and things like that, but leave the jewelry at home and you'll be good. And of course, make sure you know where you're going in Medellin, Colombia. Don't wander around in neighborhoods that you don't know. I've been in a multitude of different neighborhoods in Medellin, Colombia. I've been in Envigado, Medellin, Poblado, of course, that's the tourist neighborhood. Just various different neighborhoods, but I feel that I can do fine in any neighborhood that I'm in, especially if I'm just walking through the neighborhood, as long as I blend in with the natives. And if you're going to Medellin, Colombia just to visit, do your research on, different neighborhoods that your hotel may be in or your Airbnb may be in. Check the reviews, see what people are saying about the location, the safety of the Airbnb, the neighborhood, things like that. And you'll be pretty fine regarding the neighborhood. Just do a little bit of research if you can regarding where you're staying. The neighborhoods that foreigners usually stay at are El Poblado. That's like the main big neighborhood. That's the tourist neighborhood that people go to stay or to live. And the second one would be Laureles. I still can't pronounce that correctly, but yeah, that's a very nice neighborhood, has a foreigner presence there. Envigado is another neighborhood. I don't really see as many foreigners in Envigado, but that's also a nice neighborhood to stay in. So those are the three neighborhoods that I would recommend if you're going there to visit, potentially live. But yeah, El Poblado, Laureles, and I'm talking in Spanish, and Envigado. And Medellin is also a nice neighborhood too. And also another aspect that I hear people mention is, can they walk places? Should they stick to Ubers every time they go places? Is it safe to walk in these neighborhoods? And in my opinion, I feel it's definitely safe to walk. I've walked everywhere when I'm in Medellin. I usually take the trains though, and the buses sometimes, but yeah, I think it's safe to walk. Just do your research on the neighborhood. I've walked through those neighborhoods I just mentioned. I've walked through other neighborhoods in between, and yeah, I was fine. I didn't feel any unsafetyness when I was walking to different places. So yeah, I think you can definitely walk. Just know where you're going, and don't pull out your phone often. That's another aspect about living in Colombia that I picked up on, and in Medellin, especially Bogota too, is try not to be on your phone all the time. I know in the United States we have a culture of just always being on our phone. Like it's people that I've seen run into light poles and stuff because they're so glued to their phone, almost get hit by cars. But in Colombia, definitely do not do that. Do not be on your phone every single time. Pay attention to your surroundings. When I'm outside, until I get to my destination, I try to keep being on my phone to a minimum. I only use my phone for the maps to know exactly where I'm walking, where I'm going, the direction that I'm going in, only for that. Because petty theft is a thing. People do steal phones, people can rob you. It can happen. So just don't put yourself at a disadvantage by being on your phone and not paying attention to your surroundings. Don't carry a bunch of money on you also. Just take enough money that you'll need for the day. And of course, everything gets less safe at night. So, keep that into precaution. That's the same as United States, anywhere else. So yeah, know where you're going at night. Another safety tip that I always use when I'm in a new place is, if I'm going to a specific place, like a mall, a store, things like that, in a new neighborhood that I've never been to, I'll take an Uber there first and, really scope out the neighborhood while I'm in the car, like the whole entire route, and especially when I'm in the vicinity of my destination, just to get a vibe of how things are looking in that neighborhood. And then after you reach your destination, you're comfortable with the destination, how it looks, then you can maybe decide to walk around, and then next time maybe take public transportation there. So that's a good tip to have. This tip that I'm about to mention right now, it's an advantage for people that are of African descent. So if you're not, this may not help you as much. It's probably not going to help you at all. But if you look African, if you look of African descent, it's greatly going to help you in Colombia, because Colombia is a very diverse country when it comes to color. And there are a lot of African people, or a lot of people of African descent in Colombia. So in Colombia, when I'm out and about and walking around, I usually don't get people staring at me that much. Unless it's like they're staring at my clothes or other things. But you know how like people stare at you because they know you're not from there? Yeah, I don't get that much, because there's already so many people in Colombia and in Medellin that look like me that people just think I'm Colombian, people just think I'm from here. And when people think you're from a certain place, that greatly helps you blend in, because they're just thinking like, oh, he's from here, I'm not gonna rob him. He probably has no money or whatever they think about, whatever native people think about other native people. People don't realize I'm a foreigner until I open my mouth, until I start speaking English. Then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not from here. So yeah, that could definitely help us African people in Colombia, you know, avoid certain issues. And a friend of mine that I met while in Medellin, Colombia, you know, Colombian that has African descent, he says that they don't rob black people, they don't rob Africans in Medellin. I don't know how true that is, but maybe I'll do an interview with him just to get his opinion on why he said that. During my time in Colombia, I had no safety issues at all. I felt safe. I was well aware of my surroundings, and yeah, I had a good time. I didn't have to worry about, you know, my life everywhere I went in Colombia. Just Medellin, Colombia is the same as any other city in the United States. You know, you take the same precautions. So don't do dumb things, don't do drugs, don't deal with prostitutes unless you do it in a safe way. Blend in fashion-wise, don't, you know, wear jewelry and watches and rings and things like that on a daily, out and about, going to random places. Don't wear flip-flops. I rarely see people wearing flip-flops outside. But I see people wearing shorts. I know I've heard before, like, oh, if you wear shorts, you know, you're gonna look like a foreigner. But I see people wearing shorts, especially if they're like playing sports or going to the gym or something like that. I always wear shorts. I wear basketball shorts all the time. So I don't know if that helps me or not, but yeah, you can wear shorts. I would even say buy a spare phone while in Colombia or in your home country, like a cheap phone, smartphone, that if anything did happen, you know, if someone tried to rob you or anything, you just give them this cheap phone that you don't care about, and, you know, they'll be on their way. So I would say keep a spare phone with you, and take it with you if you're going to new places that you're unsure of. And, you know, that's like the decoy phone. You know, you're not really concerned about it. It doesn't have a bunch of pictures and other valuable things on it. So yeah, definitely buy a decoy phone. If you're meeting women through dating sites, like Tinder is the main one where people get caught up and lose their life from meeting women on that app, you need to be very careful when meeting women on the internet in Medellin, Colombia, because for some reason there just seems to be a norm of drugging foreigners, stealing their, you know, their credit cards, debit cards, money, them dying from overdosing on the drugs that they accidentally take by these women that they're around. So yeah, you need to be very careful. If you meet a woman, in my opinion, if you meet a woman on these dating sites, you should meet them in a public place, you know, get to know them. Definitely try to learn Spanish so you guys can communicate at least a little, so you know what she's talking about. And try to hang out with her a couple of times before y'all do anything else, before it gets serious. Outside, hang out with her outside of your apartment, you know, to really get a feel for what her intention is with you. Because I would assume if her intention was solely just to drug you, steal your money, credit cards, even kill you, if that's her intention, she's not trying to keep going on dates with you. She's trying to, you know, get that done quick. She's not trying to waste time. So that's why you kind of weed out what the intention is by really getting to know this girl, really getting to see where her head is at by hanging out with her multiple times. Definitely don't take them back to your place after just meeting them. I think you're opening yourself up to some very serious issues if you do that. And if you're really trying to, you know, get involved with the dating scene in Colombia, meet some females out here, you gotta learn Spanish, because, you know, that's the only way to, you know, effectively communicate, and that'll help you avoid, you know, potential issues when it comes to girls trying to do you harm out here. Hopefully after watching this video, it has eased your mind on if Medellin, Colombia is a safe place to visit, and now you know some things, some tips to keep in mind when you're visiting Medellin, Colombia. Colombia does seem to normalize petty theft, or just theft in general. I don't really have too much information on it, but there's a phrase called no dar papaya, and it just means like don't give people a reason to rob you or mess with you or things like that. So I guess it's so common that, you know, it's an official phrase or unofficial phrase for just petty theft and robberies out here. So yeah, just don't give people a reason to rob you and you'll be good. So if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, comment a question or anything you're curious about in the comments section. If you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys soon. And enjoy Colombia.